Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today I'm covering Gilmore Girls, Season 1, Episode 4, The Deer Hunters. This is such a good episode, you guys. This is definitely one that I think about when I think about the series and the beginning and all that. I love this episode so much, so I cannot wait to talk about it. We really get to see Rory and Lorelai's personalities in this one, so let's get into it. Hey guys, I just want to take a second and say if you're enjoying this show, please check out my Patreon. Go to patreon.com, search Real Housewives Recaps, or check the comments below and I'll put a link. And for $1 a week, you can support my show and get 4 bonus episodes per month. I'm covering Scary Island, like the greatest season of Real Housewives in New York. So check it out. Thanks so much. So we start off with Rory and Lorelai shopping, and we get to see more about how Rory is OCD about everything. She has everything a certain way. She needs legal pads. She needs 3 highlighters in case the other ones die. And Rory she just likes things a certain way, and Lorelai is trying to get her to have more fun with it. She's trying to get her to get like a purple legal pad and just to have some fun, and Rory's just not having it. So Rory's saying Chilton is a serious school and she needs serious yellow legal pads. Get our opening credits, and you know how I feel about that. Love it. Love the song. Love the orange. Moving on. We see Rory getting off the bus, and poor thing is saddled with so many bags. She's working so hard. As you remember, she just transferred from Stars Hollow High, where she was like top of her class, to Chilton, where it's so much tougher, and she gets a paper back. Okay, so let's back up. This is Max Medina, and I have some feelings about Max Medina. I'm sure you guys too. I definitely want to talk about it, but Rory gets her first D, so she's devastated. But of course, Paris already knew this. Paris and Louise got an A, and Madeline got a B, so they're kind of rubbing in. Not kind of, they are rubbing it in front of Rory, and Rory's just already having a crap day. So Max is trying to be sweet to her, and she's just feeling like crap. She runs into Tristan in the hall. He's still calling her Mary, and he says, I can't figure out why we aren't friends. And she says, it's because you can't learn my name. She tells him to leave her alone. Then we go over to the Independence Inn, where Drella has hit Michelle's shoes. He's freaking out because they're $300 Italian loafers. And so Lorelai's putting out fires all over the place. Rory comes into the kitchen, and Suki and Lorelai are reading a review that Suki just got, so they're not really paying attention to Rory, who's having a shit-tastic day. And so Lorelai's telling Suki about all these wonderful things that this reviewer said. He called her food amazing and just divine, delectable, delirious. It's a rave review. He said the risotto was fine, but another dish sent me through the roof. So what happens? Suki gets hung up on the risotto is fine. That's her magic risotto we're going to find out about. So she can't handle it very well. She's just focused on the risotto is fine. Oh, everybody's having a really bad day. Then we're at the house. Lorelai's talking to the news, as she does. She's saying, let's get ice cream. I'm bored. Rory says, I'm studying. Lorelai is encouraging her to take a break. Smart girls are mean. Rory says, if you let me study now, I'll play with you this weekend. Lorelai says, I'm sorry. Where do we land on the whole ice cream issue? And Rory then has to grab her books and walk away. So then we see Rory at Kim's Antiques. Of course, this is where Lane lives. Rory's calling for her. They have to play Marco Polo to find each other because it's literally a maze of antiques. So Rory is there, they're studying, and Lane's just having to eat a rice cake, and Rory sneaks her a Snickers bar, and she's hit the jackpot. She's very happy about this, but her mom sure can't see that. Mrs. Kim sells the table where Rory and Lane are sitting. Mrs. Kim sees the Snickers bar, and Rory says it was hers. Mrs. Kim then says calls it chocolate covered death. So much happens this episode. We're back at the Independence Inn. Drella is playing Black Sabbath. Lorelai is not feeling that. She goes into the kitchen, and Suki is just beyond bummed and just can only focus on this risotto. We find out that Lorelai has a meeting at Chilton. It's a teacher-parent meeting. But Suki's in such a mood, she can't even hear what Lorelai's talking about. She explains the risotto. It's her magic risotto. She explains that her mom was on her deathbed, and Suki made the magic risotto, and her mom she lived 3 more years because of it. Jackson comes by, and Lorelai explains that the reviewer didn't like her risotto, so Jackson tries to cheer her up, but, Suki's in a funk. That night we're at Chilton. We're at Max Medina with all these stodgy, suit-wearing parents, and Lorelai comes in late. She spilled coffee all over herself, so she's forced to wear a B-52's shirt under her jacket, and there's instant sparks between her and Max Medina. Oh, so much to talk about there, which we will definitely get into it. I'm trying not to spoil it for those of you that haven't actually watched the series, but so much to get into about these two. But there's obviously chemistry here. So then she goes over to have some coffee. She takes a sip of it, and in the middle of the parents' meeting yells, "Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and the camel." And all the parents turn to look at her, and I just love Lorelai. I think she's so funny. It's so quick-witted. It's so well-written. I'm obsessed. So they all take a break, and Lorelai wanders up and talks to Max. She's saying the coffee just keeps getting worse, and he apologizes for the behavior of some of the rude parents. And Lorelai says, "Hey, are you this nice to my kid?" And Max says, "It's easy. Rory's a sweet girl." And he asks how she's liking Chilton, and Lorelai, of course, says, she loves it, and she's always wanted to go to Harvard, and this is how she'll get there, and that's where Max drops the bomb. That I hope Rory adjusts to this place. I hope she's not disappointed by the paper. I know a D sounds abysmal, and Lorelai cuts him off and says, "Rory got a D? She's never gotten a D." And Max is trying to explain, well, it's the first paper she's had to turn in, and Lorelai says she's got to go. If she got a D, she's not going to handle it well. So she excuses herself and goes to be with Rory. Rory, meanwhile, is at Luke's, and she's just so upset with herself. She's throwing pencils, and she's just really having a tough time. So Luke brings her a piece of pie, which was so sweet, unprompted. He just brings it to her because he knows she's upset. Lorelai shows up and reminds Rory that it was parent-teacher night, and so Rory figures out that she's talked to Max and she knows about the D, and Lorelai wants to know why she didn't tell her, and Rory said it was too humiliating. Lorelai said, "You once told me you left Saved by the Bell. What could be more embarrassing than that?" Rory says, "A D, I suck," and Lorelai says, "You don't suck." Rory's saying she can't do this, and Lorelai does such a good job of just trying to help her get through this and convince her that she can do this. The next day at Chilton, Rory's sitting and studying. Every second she's studying for this test. It's going to be 20% of her grade. Paris comes up and shows off that she's memorized everything, just not helping the situation at all. She already feels like crap, and that doesn't help. Meanwhile, over at the end, Suki has made 32 pots of risotto. She's force-feeding them to Lorelai and freaking out over this risotto thing. The reviewer mentioned that his waiter had a goatee, so she is quizzing this guy to see if she can uncover any details as to why this reviewer would have thought the risotto was just okay. Meanwhile, at the house, we see Lorelai is working so hard with Rory. She's quizzing her, they're practicing, they're just doing everything they can to prepare for this test. And they're staying up late, they're drinking coffee, and Rory's really practicing doing what she can. We see that Lorelai ends up falling asleep on the couch, and she later wakes up and she finds Rory sleeping at the table. She brings a blanket over and covers both of them, and they both pass out at the kitchen table over the study. So it's the next morning, and Rory wakes up, and she's like, "Mom, I'm late." She missed the bus. Lorelai realizes she has a meeting at the inn. She can't drive her. So she throws Rory the keys and says, "You're going to have to drive. Take the phone, and Lorelai will get a ride from Suki." So we see Rory take off for school. She stops at the stop sign. She's calling Lane, looking for some notes, and all of a sudden we hear a loud thud, and it's a deer. She got hit by a deer. She goes out into the woods to look for the deer to see if it's okay. Can't find the deer. Lane reminds her that she's running late. She's like, oh God. So she takes off running again for the car. We see her arrive at Chilton, running down the hallway, and what happens? She's late. So she goes into class, and Max says that you'll have to wait in the library. She says, I know everything about Shakespeare. You have to let me take this test. Paris calls her a loser. Rory yells, just what is your problem? You already have the grades. Why do you have to be the biggest jerk in the class, huh? What's up, Quippy? Why so silent now? Max is saying, listen, we gotta go. You gotta go outside right now. And when she walks by Tristan, she said, and for the last time, the name is Rory. I was proud of her for standing up for herself. So we go over to the end. Lorelai's there. She's talking to Drella. She goes in to see what's going on with Suki. Suki found the order from the reviewer, and she realizes he's drank the wrong wine. It's the Riesling he ordered that made the risotto taste weird. So she's excited that she's figured this out, so now she's going to have to figure out what the heck to do with this information. Then Michelle comes to tell her that she's got a phone call. So then we jump cut to her at Chilton. She's come to find Rory and to see what's happened. Rory explains, I got hit by a deer and I was late, so they wouldn't let me take the test. And Lorelai was in shock. And Rory says, they wouldn't let me take the test. Lorelai says, no, you're kidding me. Sit here, I'll handle this. So she goes into the headmaster's office. Max is in there as well. And, this scene makes me so mad. The headmaster, I understand that he's supposed to be stern, but he was such a jerk to her. He's very dismissive and wouldn't hear her out or listen to what she had to say. And every time she'd try to talk, he'd just open the door like, that's all, Miss Gilmore. I love Lorelai in this scene because she stands up for Rory. She calls Headmaster Il Duce, and she's like, there's a mistake. She's got to take this test. You don't understand. Well, the headmaster is telling her, listen, I don't know that she's cut out for this school. And one more outburst out of her or you, that'll be it. So once again, we see Lorelai and Rory sitting outside the office. And Rory is again explaining that she got hit by a deer. So then we see Lorelai seeing that she actually was hit by a deer. I just feel so bad for Rory. What a shitty day. And Lorelai's trying so hard to help her. Meanwhile, we see Suki knocking on this guy's door, and she's insane. She's explained that her culinary friends helped track him down, and he's like, this is highly inappropriate. She says, I know, but I made this risotto, and I've got a better wine for you this time, so try this, and I'll wait. And so we see her hard work paying off here. Lorelai and Rory are driving back. Rory makes her stop to look for the deer. Lorelai tells Rory, you shouldn't be studying so hard. You need to eat a real meal and come up for air once in a while. And Rory says, do they think I should quit? And Lorelai says, no, I'm just worried about you. And Rory is just saying, like, I just lost it the one time. And Lorelai says, well, I can't remember a time where we weren't talking about Harvard. And I'm forgetting, was it me that started it or was it you? And Rory explains, no, it's her dream, that she really wants to go to Harvard. So they arrive at home, and Lorelai says, just go change, get cozy, we're going to go to Luke's. And at that time, when Rory leaves, the phone rings, and Max leaves a message and explains that Headmaster agreed to let Rory do the extra credit work to make up for the missed test today. And if your mother's listening, Lorelai, it's a pleasure encountering you, and I hope it happens again, and I'll see you in class. So there's definitely something building there with Max. So this is how that storyline kicks off. We have a lot to talk about there, so we will be getting into that for sure. So that is it for the episode. I just love season 1 so much. I'm really enjoying doing these recaps. I hope you guys are enjoying listening to them. Love to know your thoughts on the season and the series, and just let me know what you think down below. I really appreciate it. Let all your Gilmore girlfriends know that I'm covering this show. I'd love to talk about it with them as well. And I hope you guys are enjoying it. And leave me a comment, or you can follow me on Twitter at Real Recaps and reach me there. And I thank you guys so much for everything. I really do. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.